Hey, hey, hey! Welcome back, guys. It's Maverick here with episode 8 of Code Geass. So, last episode, Lelouch kind of got his ass handed to him, right, by Cornelia. But I'd say that it was better for him overall that this was experienced sooner rather than later. Even though it was kind of a close call and all that, he has time to recuperate and regroup, right? And more to the point, to use his chess analogy that he loves so much, he's not just playing chess anymore. The board has gotten a lot bigger, so his pieces need to get a lot bigger as well to fit the stage. So, anyways, as he has said himself, he's going to actually form an army, actually form or gather people, gather those to his cause, actually maybe just maybe form his own nation, right? Now, I'm really curious how exactly he's going to go about that. So, without further ado, let's just get into the episode. All right, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play.
ブリタニアの少年ルルーシュは謎の少女 C2 から特殊な能力を手に
Shit.
いかなる相手にでも命令を下せる絶対遵守の力。妹ナナリーのため神聖ブリタニア帝国の破壊を目論むルルーシュ。一方、彼の友人クルルギスザクは帝国内での足場を築きかけていた。すでにこの時、先行きの命運は必然として約束されていたのかもしれない。
Nope. Opening first, I guess. Isn't that kind of well, I was originally gonna say, isn't the narrator saying stuff like that kind of jumping the gun, right? We're not entirely sure yet that Suzaku is going to walk on an opposite path of Lelouch, right? But then again, that's what I'm expecting as well, and I'm sure that probably most people expect that as well. So, in the end, I guess it doesn't really matter. So, who exactly is C2? I'm actually kind of surprised that Lelouch hasn't been trying to figure out some more stuff in regards to her. Because that is an unknown. How can I put it? It's a liability, right? It's a wild card. Unpredictable. You put yourself in a state of invincibility when you eliminate all the unpredictabilities. Alright, the outer slums.
ルルーシュも来られるとよかったのにね。良いではないか。今宵は夜通し語り明かそうぞ。好きな男の子教え合ったりさ。いるんですか会長にそんな人。さあね。大丈夫。河口湖はブリタニアの観光客も多いから治安はいいって。ゲットみたいに怖くないよ。でも。
Okay, so I guess she was traumatized before? And that's why she has an inherent distrust of Suzaku? Is that Mount Fuji? And is that a hotel? Huh. He actually showed himself.
頼んだら譲ってくれたよ。道楽者の貴族が。頼んだって、そんな簡単に。大丈夫だ。足はつかない。おいおい、2回もあるぞ。大きすぎないか。
It's like an art.
逆にこれぐらいの方が盲点になるかも。
テレビまでついてる。現場はどうなっているんですか？はい、何？こちら川口湖の
日本解放戦線を
Hotel trackers.
中心とする桜大と配分会議のメンバーと居合わせた観光客および数人の従業員を人質に取っています。これが犯人から送られてきた映像です。ジェームス議長のほか、
And of course they're taken as well.
犯行グループのリーダーは草壁中佐と名乗る旧日本軍人です。
バカな。
高温超電導体の製造に欠かすことのできない桜大とは世界の安全保障に直接関与する重要な戦略物資です。ここエリア11は世界最大の桜大と産地である。
Saccharodite.
供給量は実に 70% に達します。
Oh, so that's actually a mine, not a hotel?
開催される桜大と生産国会議では桜大との国際分配レートを決定します。その結果は我がブリタニアと諸外国とのパワーバランスそのものと言っても過言ではありません。テロリストは国際世論がこの会議に寄せる関心の大きさを狙いに入れてホテルジャックという暴挙に訴えたものと思われます。
日本解放戦線の草壁である。我々は日本の独立解放のために立ち上がった。諸君は軍属ではないがブリタニア人だ。我々を支配する者だ。おとなしくしているならばよし、さもなくば。
動いてきたな。日本最大の反ブリタニア勢力だからな。
How exact? This is.
かもな。
How is Lelouch going to do something about this?
ルルーシュ。ルルーシュだ。発信音の後にメッセージを。何やってんだよ、こんな時に。分かっている。
Yeah.
しかし。
So, you know, technically right now he's on their side.
人質救出作戦を展開するために残されたルートは一つだけです。コンベンションセンターホテルの真下まで伸びているライフラインのトンネル。これを使えば作戦通り基礎ブロックを破壊してホテルを水没させることができます。このトンネルは物資搬入も兼ねているため、サザーランドならば突入可能。敵にも備えはありましょうが問題はありません。
Frontal assault, eh?
今まで相手が使用した武器レベルなら十分回避可能です。
敵へ補足。予測通り地下行動を移動してきます。
了解。来航第2軌道左右4連脚部固定超電磁式硫酸弾銃砲。
Damn. I guess that's their trump card.
アンチナイトメアライフルと思われる。3回しつつ突破せよ。超電磁式硫酸弾銃砲発射。
Oops.
やった。一撃だ。使えますな。ライコは
見たかブリタニアの豚ども。全滅。敵はグラスゴーを改造したリリアカノンを設置していたようです。突破は無理ということか。
どうしますか。要求通り政治犯の釈放とテロリストに弱みを見せるな。
しかしユーフェミア様が
分かっている。
Oh, Yuffie is in there? Okay.
必ずや交渉に使ってくるかと。会議には立ち会うだけでしたからメンバーリストにも載っていませんし。
ああ、分かってるよ。今度はうまくやる。でも私は保護者なんかじゃないんだ。
僕たち特派は救出作戦に参加できないんですか。
申請はしてあるけど、うちは命令系統が違うイレギュラーだし、それに
イレブンに作戦を任せるわけにはいかない。
コーネリア殿下はブリタニア人とナンバーズをきっちり区別される方でね。
受け入れてもらうにはまだ足りないんですね。
でもそれじゃ何のための名誉ブリタニア。
Suzuka is fighting for equality within Britannia.
これどこに置く？そっちそっち。運転席の方。
おい、ここに置いといた箱はただの観光なんですよ。まだ学生なのにそれをテロリストは無差別に。許さない。シャーリーは娘は無事なんでしょうか。あの子は何も悪いことをしていないのに。
ブリタニアと戦うために組織は必要だ。しかし早すぎる。でもこのまま放っておくわけにも。コーネリアの性格なら人質など無視して。ならなぜ動かない。まさか。
ゼロ、人質どうなるかな。
いずれにせよブリタニア人を生かしておく理由はないな。
そうだよね。
おいゼロ、こいつみんなに配っていいのか。これさ、かっこいいとは思うんだけど、 ちレジスタンスだし。違う。私たちはレジスタンスではない。じゃあなんだよ。私たちが目指すもの。
The Black Knight.
正義の味方だ。
特別狙撃小隊に対する。現状はホールド。各小隊長は通達を確認。
人質の学生って生徒会の人たちなんでしょ？交渉はまだ続けているから。
僕は組織の人間です。個人的な感情より組織の論理を優先します。セシルさん、あそこ。
何？
これは
まさか人質を。
やめろ。やめるんだ。やめろ。
我々の要求に対して何らかの返答がなされない限り30分ごとに1人ずつ飛んでもらう。人質のためにも誠意ある対応を期待する。
見せしめとは野蛮人。
交渉に応じ、女子供だけでも先に解放させては。
ダメだ。一度でも交渉に応じればテロという手段を。
A hardliner.
では強行。
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
ユフィ、私は。
総督ゼロが。
ゼロから連絡が入りました。
何？3号車がゼロに盗まれた。ギブソンは何をやってたんだ。
なんか気がついたら取られてたって。
はあ？でその3号車は
軍のど真ん中へ。
確認しました。ゼロです。狙撃しますか？
Oh,
その状態で待機せよ。
this dude.
完了後に逮捕する。
なあ、彼が言う正義ってどういう意味なんだろうな。
さあ、でもその前に殺されるかも。後ろのみんなも逃げ場ないし。
なんであのトレーラーを使わないんだ。
アジトを人目に探してどうするんだよ。
本当に信用していいの？あのゼロって男。
だから俺は怪しいって言ってんだよ。
Well, you guys are here, aren't you?
俺がなんとかするけど。
If you guys are here, quit whining about it.
コーネリア、ここで借りを返したいところだが、お前の使いどころはもっと先だ。読み通りならギアスを使うまでもないが。
また会えたなゼロ。お前は日本解放戦線のメンバーだったのか？それとも協力するつもりか？しかし今はこちらの都合を優先する。義弟クロビスの敵、ここで撃たせてもらう。
コーネリア、どちらを選ぶ？死んだクロビスと生きているユーフェミア。よし、やはりそうか。第一条件はクリアされた。相変わらず
Good brain.
あなたは昔からユーフェミアを溺愛していた。だから動けない。情の尻尾が邪魔をする。ユーフェミアを救い出そう。私が。
ゼロ、何を言っているのかわからないな。
救ってみせる。私なら。
ゼロだと？
はい。ブリタニア軍から連絡が。
全部隊に達する。ゼロを通せ。繰り返す。ゼロを通せ。
日本解放戦線が私を同志として受け入れるか、それとも邪魔者として扱うか。いずれにせよゼロに会いたいという誘惑、この心の動きに勝てるはずがない。ということは。よし。作戦の前提条件は全てクリア。
どういたしますか、総督。
ゼロが行くことによって次の人質殺害までに若干のゆとりが生まれるはずだ。ならばこれは好機だ。ゼロもまとめて叩いてくれる。
ああ、いいご指名ありがとうございます出していいってランスロット。トンネル内をリニアカノンに向かって突っ込めってさ。
ロイドさん、それってうちをおとりにして隙を作るってことですか？
混乱に乗じて親衛隊が突っ込むみたい。
みたいってそんな。
セシルさん、やります。やらせてください。みんなを助ける可能性があって、今僕とランスロットが必要とされているならやるべきです。それがたとえおとりであろうと。
This is certainly a very interesting situation here.
クルル議長に作戦概要を説明します。プライムサーチによると、人質はホテルのミドルフロア、食料貯蔵庫に閉じ込められている模様。
How exactly is Lelouch? I mean, sure, this is happening and all that, but I'm much more concerned with how Lelouch is actually going to negotiate.
人質のいる場所は8分は持つと推測される。
適当なところ。わかりました。
朱雀くん、今度の日曜日会長やニーナと河口湖に行くの。一緒に行かない？
ごめん、その日は仕事が入ってて。
あ、そっか。それじゃ仕方ないか。
でもありがとう、誘ってくれて本当に嬉しいよ。
作戦開始まであと12分。カウントダウンに入ります。
今何と言った？イレブンだと。我々は日本人だ。
分かってるわよ。だからやめて。
訂正しろ。我々はイレブンではない。
訂正するから。
なんだその言い方は。お前たち隣まで来い。じっくり教え込んでやる。タタンかこら。
おやめなさい。
なんだ貴様。
私をあなたたちのリーダーに合わせなさい。
何？
いけません、副総督。私はブリタニア第三工場ユーフェミア・ディ・ブリタニアです。あなた大丈夫？怪我はない？はい。
私と手を組むつもりはないか？
ならば素顔を見せてもらおうゼロ。無礼であろう。
分かった。しかしその前に聞かせてほしい。お前はこの行動の果てに何を求めている？
知れたことを、日本人がまだ死んでいないことを内外に知らしめるのだ。
古いな。
ん？
お前たちは古い。もう救えない。
貴様！どういう意味かな、ゼロ。
ME ブースト。
ランスロット発進。
反応確認。敵ナイトメア1。起動速度は約2倍です。構わん。同じことだ。超電磁式流散弾銃砲発射。
ウシュー。
おとりじゃなくてやりきっちゃうつもりだね。
中佐のもとに先ほど連絡した人質を連行しました。ユーフェミアと名乗っていますが。
ゼロ、もはや問答無用。
死ね。
Oh, just that?
落ち着け。
ゼロ。
中佐たちは自決した。行動の無意味さを悟ったのだ。ユーフェミア、民衆のために人質を買って出たか。相変わらずだな。
何？特派のナイトメアが？
はい、このまま行くと突破できそうです。
期待していいのか？この破壊力なら耐えられる。
第5射も突破されました。信じられない。臆するな。4連は
So both sides are going. So ironic.
ここでバリスを使います。
待って、それは危険よ。
活動領域が狭まり。
Well, I guess it kind of depends, right? Suzaku breaking through this could either be a blessing or a curse to Lelouch right now.
副総督に就任されたと聞きました。ユーフェミア公女殿下。
喜ぶことではありません。
そう。クロビスが死んだからですね。私が殺した。彼は最後まで私におもねり命乞いをした。イレブンを殺せと命じたその口で。
だから兄を殺したのですか？
いや、
ではなぜ？
あの男がブリタニア皇帝の子供だから。そういえば、あなたもそうでしたね。
出力全開。方針がいかれても構わん。絶対獅子を敢行せよ。オールスタイル。
Fire! Ooh. Nice. Suzaku just happens to be this super genius nightmare pilot.
やりきったか？ゲルフォード。ほん。まさか。
あの
欲しいんだよ。どうしたゼロ。そのためじゃなかったのか。利用するためじゃ。
Yeah, they're gonna be saved in the end. So I guess it was Lelouch's guys who set the charges, right? Those of the former resistance force.
ブリタニア人よ、動じることはない。ホテルに囚われていた人質は全員救出した。あなた方のもとへお返ししよう。
みんな、よかった。抜け抜けとよく言う。お前に手出しをしたら、人質に逆戻りということだろう。
人々よ、我らを恐れ、求めるがいい。我らの名は黒の騎士団。
騎士団。皮肉だね。テロリストがナイトを名乗るなんて。
我々黒の騎士団は武器を持たない全ての者の味方である。イレブンだろうと、ブリタニア人であろうと。日本解放戦争は卑劣にもブリタニアの民間人を人質に取り、無残に殺害した。無意味な行為だ。故に我々が制裁を下した。
当然です。このまま流さないと。責任、そんなものは私が取ります。
クロビス前総督も同じだ。武器を持たぬイレブンの虐殺を命じた。このような残虐行為を見過ごすわけにはいかない。故に制裁を加えたのだ。私は戦いを否定しない。しかし、強い者が弱い者を一方的に殺すことは断じて許さない。撃っていいのは撃たれる。
One of their most famous quotes.
力ある者が力なき者を襲うとき、再び現れるだろう。たとえその敵がどれだけ大きな力を持っているとしても。
正義の味方。
力ある者よ、我を恐れよ。力なき者よ、我を求めよ。世界は我々黒の騎士団が裁く。
His chuuni knows no bounds. Alright, see you guys after this. The only ones who should kill are those prepared to be killed. Man, probably one of the most famous quotes to come out of Code Geass. I've actually known of this term, and I knew that it came from Code Geass way before I saw any of these episodes. And I've been managing to avoid spoilers for Code Geass for the most part, but this is one of those quotes that are just quoted constantly in various media forums and so on and so forth. So hey, I guess that just shows the influence that this anime has. And certainly, Lelouch's chuuni-ness was on full display at the very end there. But hey, we love him for that, right? His theatrics and his flair. But honestly, though, I was pretty impressed by the way he handled the situation this episode in terms of how he positioned himself and tried to explain his ideology, and yet still positioning himself in a method which is going to help achieve his plan of toppling the Britannian Empire. So what do I mean by this? So if we think about it, even though it seems that Lelouch as Zero is appearing and he's like taking a more neutral stance, right? Like, hey, I don't particularly side with Britannians, I don't particularly side with Japanese, 11s, I just side with those who have no power, right? So, I am more of a neutral third party. I would utilize my forces on either side. However, the genius thing about this is that it's still going to allow Lelouch to go up against the Britannian forces because, hey, guess what? The Britannians don't really adhere to this kind of standard, right? It doesn't fit with their ideology at all, as decided by the Emperor himself. And, at the end of the day, Lelouch did already kill one of the royalty and killed off Clovis, so they're not going to stand for this, right? And particularly with Cornelia here on the scene, who is more of a hardliner, she's not going to take any of this crap. She's like, who made you in charge? Who said that you can judge people? And not to mention, this is not this is not the way the Britannian Empire operates anyways, right? So they're never going to accept this, even though, potentially you could say perhaps there's a way, if it was legitimate, right? There would be a way to utilize it instead as a stabilizing force for the district, but no, I think what's going to happen is that it's just going to further bring Britannians into full conflict with Lelouch, and that's exactly what Lelouch wants, right? So there is no hindrance to his to this part of his plan on the Britannian side. Now let's talk a little bit about the Japanese Liberation Front, because that's where things get a little bit tricky. Now, I do think that the Japanese, especially these who are resistance forces, liberation forces, and whatnot, they most probably won't accept this either, right? Again, it's the same case, right? Like, who went and made you in charge? Who says that you are the person who can judge others, right? Each faction has their own set of ideologies, their own set of goals, and what Lelouch is proposing, well, nice on the surface and whatnot, equality and all that, it doesn't really fit with the Liberation Force's objectives of reviving Japan, right? So, even in this episode, even though we do see a clear split between the factions within the Liberation Force, which resulted in this hostage situation of this episode, even then, we can clearly see that there's a more conservative faction, there's a more radical faction, right? But I don't really think that the problem the conservative faction has with the radical faction is in the fact that they involve civilians or non-combatants or so on and so forth. They are at a disadvantaged position, right? They need, if they truly want to achieve their final goal, they're gonna take whatever chance that they can get. So, most probably the reason that they had this difference in opinion is more so that the conservative faction feels that this is too hasty a decision. It's not a 100% foolproof plan, and indeed they were destroyed, right? They didn't really accomplish anything. Now, the thing here is, though, I don't think the Japanese Liberation Forces are going to take lightly to Lelouch actually killing off one of their beloved brothers either, right? And not only the lieutenant colonel, but also all the other men under his command who were part of the Liberation Force. So, they're definitely going to view Lelouch as an enemy as well, I feel. Obviously, we could, if they are smart about it, right? If the leader is actually smart about it, he would utilize this, the appearance of Lelouch to bolster his own forces as well, right? Because if he was smart enough, he would know that the Britannians would probably take a more hardline stance, so Lelouch is going to end up in endless conflict with the Britannians anyways. So on the Liberation Front, they can utilize Lelouch as much as they can. They are at the disadvantaged side, right? They need all the help they can get. However, they all fully know that Lelouch is actually not their ally, and they will be prepared to turn against him at any moment's time, right? They definitely will not trust Lelouch, and, they don't give a crap about his ideology. At least that's what I think. So we'll have to see what exact kind of attitude they take in the next few episodes, but my personal guess is most likely they will, utilize Lelouch as a ally of convenience, but deep down they are going to be prepared to break away from him or even backstab him at any moment's time. And indeed, speaking of this, Lelouch's identity, right? Because by making this sort of ideology known, I think he's also pretty much revealed that he probably isn't a Japanese, right? And there's also various other evidence pointing to him not being Japanese as well. For one, in all his speeches and whatnot, in all his dialogue, he mentions 11 and not Japan, right? Not Japanese. So 11's not Japanese. So that pretty much is a giveaway already that he's probably more so on the Britannian side of things. Not to mention the fact that he can get all these supplies and whatnot. I think most people probably would suspect that he's more so a Britannian than he is an 11, right? So of course that is going to push him further away from the Japanese Liberation Force and whatnot. Even, I dare say that there's probably a lot of racial prejudice on their side as well. It just kind of comes with the territory, right? So we're going to have this dynamic kind of going on, and indeed, even on the Britannian side, they would probably, if they're smart enough, would catch on to Lelouch's speech tendencies and use that to identify that he's probably not Japanese, he's probably not 11, and probably a Britannian. And who knows? Maybe that's going to aid them in their search for who exactly Zero is, right? So we can only theorize on that part. What else for this episode? Let me think a little bit. Now, the rest of it is pretty straightforward, I guess. I am kind of curious, like how Lelouch's current men feel about this entire situation. It seems that, I would say that he probably more or less explained his ideology to them before he executed this plan. Otherwise, you run the risk of them backstabbing you in the midst of the operation. They're like, no, we should join the Japanese Liberation Force and all that, right? So, unless, of course, he used his Geass on them, but, no, not really quite sure about all that part. So I guess maybe they are more or less in line with what Lelouch is proposing right now. So, but then again, there could still be some people with second thoughts, and I do kind of feel like that's something we should probably keep an eye on going forward. Those that have second thoughts, those that have their beliefs wavering on actually every single faction, right? But in the Japanese faction, and the Britannian faction, and in Lelouch's faction as well. What else? So yeah, and I obviously don't feel like Suzuku or the others would agree to Lelouch's methods either. Once again, like, who gave you the authority to be the judge and decide what's right and what's wrong and all that? Especially since Suzuku, we can clearly see that he is choosing to trust in the system, and if the system is flawed, he wants to fix it, right? He doesn't want to basically scrap it and then replace it with an entirely new system that never went through oversight, never went through proper authorization, never went through proper checks and balances and all that sort of fun stuff. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all for this episode. Not really, I mean, yeah, we do get some character development and whatnot. We got this entire situation with Yuffie. We got the entire situation with the girl who was clearly traumatized before in the past by 11, like by the Japanese, like maybe they killed her family or something like that. I don't know, right? But clearly that's a ticking time bomb as well, which we'll have to keep an eye on in the future. But in any case, that's it for episode 8 of Code Geass. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.